Hi everyone, welcome to Lesson 1 of Phase 2 Data Management, Accounting. In this lesson, we'll explore the Accounting tab located on the left-hand side of the QuickBooks Online homepage. You'll learn about the chart of accounts and how to create accounts in QuickBooks Online. If you don't know exactly which accounts to use in your business, that's okay. I've uploaded a couple of tax forms that I want you to use to decide which accounts to include in your chart of accounts. There's the Schedule C for sole proprietors, Form 1065 for partnerships, and Form 1120 for U.S. corporations. Download the one that fits your business type before you start this lesson. After watching this video, you'll know how to create accounts in the chart of accounts, what to include, and why each component is so important. Watch the video, use the handout, and share your experience in the course Facebook group. In this lesson, I would highly recommend following along in your own accounting file. Remember, you can pause, rewind, and rewatch anything that you need to review. Right now, I'm in the file for Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. This is the same file that we were using before, so it should look familiar. Today's lesson, we're going to be focused over here on the left-hand side of the screen. So the Accounting tab is here. Once you locate it on yours, go ahead and give that a click. This opens up the Accounting section, which consists of the Chart of Accounts tab and Reconciliation tab. We're going to stay in the Chart of Accounts tab since we'll be using the Reconciliation tab later on. From this Chart of Accounts tab, if you haven't used it before, it may open up with just a screen with a little picture and it'll say, see your Chart of Accounts, and that's the button you click on to get to where I am right now. The perfect Chart of Accounts for your business. Your chart of accounts is the list of accounts in your accounting software. The accounts are listed in your reports, and the totals allow you to determine how much you've spent, made, owe, depending on the type of account. So it's essential to create a list of accounts that you need in order to make your business decisions with informed information. Your chart of accounts needs to be designed intentionally, and if it hasn't been, it's not too late. So don't feel like you're behind the eight ball. And if you're just starting out, it's a great place to be. So there are two main types of accounts. There are the accounts for your balance sheet, which tell you what you owe and what you own. And then the second type, which you might be more familiar with, are your income statement accounts. Those tell you what you've earned and what you've spent. And those transactions are all determined by what you've entered into your checking account, your inventory, and your credit cards. Your account should be the same or be able to be easily grouped into the lines that are on your tax return. You can find a copy of the tax form that you fill out, and then for an example, for sole proprietor, you use Schedule C of the 1040, and so that's one of the handouts that you have. The partnership form is 1065, and the corporate form is 1120. Go ahead and take a look at the form that you printed out. You'll see some income and deduction, or it might be called expense if it's the sole prop form, sections on whichever form that you chose. These are a great guideline for you to set up the accounts that you'll use. There are a few special needs, such as meals and entertainment, which are only partially deductible, and that you should pay really special attention to those accounts. Your tax preparer can help you with that. If you've answered the questions about your business when you were starting up your QuickBooks file, then you may see that you already have accounts in here, which is great. So QuickBooks will use those questions that you answered. Usually it's asked you what kind of business entity you are, maybe even what your industry is, and it's going to suggest some accounts for you, and that's what you will have here. So this one, obviously, they've been in business for a little while, so they have a lot of accounts going on. Up here are their bank accounts. So when you add your bank account, it'll show up here. They've added theirs in the bank feed, it looks like, and that's why you see this little arrow here. If you want to create a new bank account, you just come up to this area here, click on there, and you're going to see your category type list here. So this one, it's always going to default to the top one. So you got to make sure that you change that. So just because we're setting up a bank account, it just was convenient that it popped up that way. But if we were doing a different kind of account, we want to make sure that we've chosen the right category. So in this case, bank account, and then it gives you a detail type. So the detail type in our case, let's set up another, actually they don't have a cash on hand account. So cash on hand is if you are taking money out of the bank for things and you need to track the cash that you've pulled out. If you're not doing that and you're not a corporation, we're going to put that money that you've taken out as a draw. But if it's money that you know that you're spending on the business, you're going to want to record that to your cash on hand account. And then you can record the expenses that you made to that account as well. So we're going to set up a new bank account, cash on hand. We're going to name it cash on hand, but if we wanted to change it, we could. So if we were setting up just a regular bank account here, we would change it to the bank name. I like to put a little asterisk and then put the last 4 digits of the bank account number, just because it makes it so much easier for you to go back and look at it. Sometimes people will change their account numbers. So it's something that I keep updated, and it just makes it easier. You know, if you have 5 bank accounts and you don't have that number listed there, it's not really going to help you if it says Chase Bank or something like that. So make sure you're as specific as you need to be here. And then you just click Save and Close. And then you see the new account that we created shows up here. And then the same thing, there's some accounts in here that you won't create that QuickBooks will create for you. The accounts receivable, your inventory account, your undeposited funds account, things like that, that are necessary to running the other side of your business. So when you're creating forms and whatnot, these are accounts that are used. So that's why QuickBooks creates it for you. In this case, they have some fixed assets. And what that means is that this company owns a truck. And then they're recorded the original cost of that truck. And then as the years go by, they'll record what's called depreciation. And that is the portion that they're allowed to deduct. They have their credit card set up here. I like to use master account. So in my case, I would put just a header account that said credit card, and then I would show mine under here. So see how the truck has these accounts that are indented. So the truck is the header account. And then there's these. So let's see if it'll let us do it. It may not. So let's do this. No, I didn't mean to click into the register. There's a register for almost every account. So you can go in, and if you need to go in and look at trying to figure out which transactions were entered and which weren't, you can go into the register on almost all of these accounts. But let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go into new again, just so that you see what this looks like. And then I'm going to choose credit card. And then in this case, I'm doing the header account. So this is just the one that it's going to be a parent account. So if you look here, it says, is this a sub account? And then you can choose the parent account. In this case, we want this to be the parent account. So we're going to leave that unchecked. Click Save and Close. And then now I have this credit card account. And I don't know if, because it's a sample file, if it'll let me do this, but what I want, I think I clicked again. What I want to do is go into here, not view register. I want to go into edit. And then I would click it's a sub account. And then it's a sub account of the account I just created. So where are you? And if you can't find it straight away, you can just type it in. And I don't know why it's not showing up. It's unusual. Let's look. Here, I'm going to close this again. I think it might be just because I'm using the sample file. It won't let me use it. Because it should see that account there. I have it as a credit card. Let's just try one more time. I want you to at least know where you would do that, but it's not showing up here. You know what? I'm going to do one thing real quick. I'm going to bounce out to another section and bounce back in, because sometimes it just hasn't refreshed the information, even though I was seeing it there. And we'll see if that makes a difference. So don't pay attention to the detail that pops up. Oh, it could just be my computer's running a little slow. So there we go. I'm going to try that one more time, because it's something that I use a lot and want you to see what that looks like. So over here, we're going to say edit. And then should have the card account we created in there. I don't know why it doesn't. It should pop up. I think I had that happen with one of my client accounts, where they had me log in on my version of their file and I could see it, and on their version of the file they couldn't see it. But if you wanted to create it if you wanted to add a parent account, you would create this, and then you want to put it. So in this case, let's just do this then. We'll make it a sub-account of the master account. It's probably going to yell at us because this MasterCard account is hooked up to the online banking, but I just wanted to see that's where you would do it. Oh, let us. Okay, so now we have the MasterCard with this underneath it. So if this were my live file and that had happened, I would just come back and put it all underneath the credit card later. It could just be slow internet connection that's causing that. But I just wanted you to see that. And then you'll see they have some liabilities listed here. They know that they pay their sales tax. So when they set up their sales tax, which is something that we can do later in another unit, but when you set up the sales tax, it's going to ask you what you want this account to be called. And so that's what they're using there. And then they have a loan set up and a note set up here. And then the other thing I did want to make sure that we covered today are your equity accounts, because depending on how your business is set up, you may have different terminology that you should be using in reference to this equity account. Now, this account here, if you have an open balance equity account and you have a balance in it, that's a problem in your books, just so you know. So this person in the sample file has transactions in this account that shouldn't be here. This account is used just when you're starting out and you don't have the detail behind the transaction, but you need to just get the file set up quick. But you're supposed to go back later and assign those transactions. So here's, potential $9,000 in either income or expenses that didn't get recorded for this client. So if this were my client, I would definitely be going into detail about this. So if you have this particular account and a balance, send me a private message and I'll talk to you about that. But the main thing I wanted to mention is that if you are a sole proprietor, you can go ahead and create an account that's called draws. So if you're taking money out of the account, you are drawing money because it is your business. And let's go ahead and create one of those. So we're going to go in here and we're going to choose equity. And you can see they even give you all sorts of help here. We're going to set up an owner's equity account. And then for the owner's equity, what I would say, if I need, if it was like Dave, or this is Craig. So let's do Craig. I would say draws / investment. Now you can do your draws in one account and your investments in another account. I just find sometimes it's cleaner and I don't think it really matters to the CPAs that I've been working with. And it's really easy to ferret that out in a report. So you can put them both in one account. It makes it simpler for you. And then you just say save and close. See, and then now you have an equity account that you can account for anything that you're putting into the business or that you're pulling out. Now, if you're a partnership, it's a little bit different. Let's do this here. We're going to go into equity again. And the names are just different because it just means different things. So with a partner, here's your partner equity. So you may have, so I'm trying to say this the right way. So if you're working with a partner, you may be wanting to make sure you're very clearer than you are when you're just drawing money in out. So they have this partners contributions and partners distributions account. So, contributions is money coming in from the partner and this is money coming out. So if Craig had a partner and it was a partnership, I would change the name on the account I already created. We would just use the partner accounts, but I would use the partner's name, contributions. And so when you get into being incorporated, it changes things entirely because now once you incorporate your business, the business entity itself is considered its own person. So in order for you as the person who's running that kind of business, when it's a corporation, to take money out, you really have to have a business reason to be putting money in and taking money out. And so it's just like I said, it's just a terminology thing. For some reason, maybe it's just because of all my training, but when someone says that they're drawing money out and they're a corporation, I just kind of cringe. Like, no, you're not. Because it's just a different thing. So if you have a corporation and you need this part specially set up for you, just let me know. But for now, most of you are probably just going to be drawing, and then so this account here that we created is just fine. Your name, your draws and investments, equity account. So like I said, if you have any other questions or you need it more detailed, let me know, because with the corporation, the corporation distributes money to you. You don't draw money out of the company. So I know it's a little bit of splitting hairs, but it matters down the line as far as how it's handled on your taxes. So then the next account here is your income accounts. I like to do what they've done here. So they have their landscaping services, but then they also have other categories that are important to their particular business type listed out, so that they don't have to do a detailed report and try to, pull it in Excel and do all this sorting when they want to know something. When they do their profit and loss statement, because of the way they've laid their accounts out here, it's going to show decks and patios. It's going to show their fountains and garden lighting. It's going to show plants and soil. So they don't need to put that extra work in, because they've already created the accounts that they want. And then because they're using a header account or the parent account here, when it's time to do the taxes, the CPA is really going to look at that bottom line number, but that bottom line number will be there for the CPA, but it also gives you the breakdown so that you can run your business efficiently. And then he also has his labor set out here, and that's the income. You also have cost of goods. So if, I have some people who are making costumes and whatnot. So if they know that they're buying materials for that particular costume, that is a cost of the goods sold. So that goes straight into this account here. And then your expense accounts are usually your more numerous accounts. And you can see like advertising is going to match what's on the form that I had you print out. You just want to make sure you have those general categories. And the way that you add them, it's the same way that we did up here. So you just go to new. From here, you'll just go to expense. And then you want to choose the detail type that you're looking for. So if you wanted to add rent, probably already has rent on there, but you could put rent or lease the buildings there, save and close. So it's really simple to come in here and add it. The best benefit to using QuickBooks is that it will prompt you as you go along to add these expenses. So if you're using a sales form and you wanted to put, you start typing and you're typing accounting and nothing's coming up, because it usually will autofill the transaction and nothing's coming up. Oh, I didn't add that account yet. There's actually from the little drop down list, you'll see add new. And once you click add new, what you're going to see is this menu here. So you're already familiar with it. And then you would just go down to whichever, if you were doing expense, you just go to the expenses tab like that. If you were needing to add another income account, you can do that as well. So the chart of accounts are really the backbone of your entire accounting system. This is what tells everything how to behave. So when you're using sales receipts and invoices and paying your bills, you're using these accounts. In addition to, and you'll see, like, you have your bank account, right, that you're writing, say you're writing a check. So you're writing a check, it's coming from the bank account, but because we're using double-sided accounting, the other side of that is one of your expense accounts. So this is really crucial part of your business that I really wanted to go through, make sure that you understood this. Do not try to break it out as far as by client or by vendor here, because what happens is, say I have this supply account and I want to know, okay, which vendors I buy supplies from. That's going to be tracked, and I can show you later on. But when you're in your expenses tab, you have a vendor list, and you can pull all sorts of reports, and reports are going to list that detail for you, because otherwise you can end up with a really ugly chart of accounts. If you put a supplies, Lowe's, supplies, Home Depot, supplies, all different. I mean, you can have like 10 different supplies accounts, but it's not giving you any good information. Good information would be the types of supplies. And then if you have more than one location, there's also settings in here where we can set your location. So for your chart of accounts, keep it simple. Make sure that any detailed sections that you're adding are going to give you useful information. And if it's a section you haven't used before, you can clean that up by deleting the transaction as well. So go ahead, and I want to make sure that if you have any questions, you're writing them down. We will have a live call this coming Monday that you can come in and you can ask, and we can go over more detailed information that you need. But right now we have a much clearer understanding of your chart of accounts, how to add accounts to the chart of accounts, and why those accounts are so important. I hope that this has been useful to you. Feel free to rewatch it as many times as you want to. And the other thing I want to remind you is you can always ask a question in the course Facebook group. Remember, we're here to support you, give you feedback so that you can fill out this chart of accounts so that you can do everything that we're asking you to do and get the answers that you need. So feel free to ask lots of questions. We love that. And we'll see you in the course group.